They've been waiting for the light, so
it's kind of live now.
I think it's kind of live. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is. Wherever you're listening, join me as always, Mr. Chris Keith.
How you doing?
Mr. Joe with that old boy Jamie, the newbie over there.
I'm Steve.
And pretty much the entire planet, which is very weird looking, and they're only about 6 feet in front of us. You won't be able to see, but probably because the Fools and Tools guys are just in front of us, so you definitely hear us. Also, just another quick reminder for all the lunatics who for some reason have joined us live in the lobby of the Birmingham Hilton. Hopefully the hotel won't shut us down for being too raucous, because there are actually real human beings here doing life and stuff. So just bear that in mind if you don't mind. Thank you very much. As we normally is customary these days now, a few shout outs from last week's show. First of all, Tracy Keaton, Jim Dockrell, Jake Thompson, Parnell Media, The Woodgeneer, and Andrew McQuillan. This podcast is, as always, brought to you in part by Yorkshire. It would turn abrasive pace. So also a shout out to Glyn for sponsoring the show again, and Chad, who's actually in the room over there. We're going to just with a little wave, and there he is.
He's out there somewhere.
If you want to know more about our sponsors, then obviously go to the website makeusinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors. I'm a little bit, or if you're here live and actually listening in the real world, yeah, just go and have a word with Chat, bug him. He's a nice guy actually, so say hello. Thanks for throwing me completely there, Jamie. I have no idea. That's it. We're done. I'm lost. What are we talking about now?
Well, there's kind of an event going on at the moment, isn't there? That's what it's all been going on this weekend. About Maker Central, at the Hilton, at the NEC maybe. We're at the Hilton at the moment, but it's been fantastic, and that's what the crowd's here for. That's why we're trying to do this live. I'm getting a few comments saying it's echo here. If there is any audio issue, guys, I mean, we just got to apologise. Like, in the middle of the hotel at the moment, there's not really much we can do about it. So, we're thinking we're going to try and get people coming up from the crowd. I'm not really sure. I'm looking at them on the cameras. That's all we're going to have to do.
I'm counting 1, 2, 3.
If you've got questions out in the chat, throw questions this way, because I think most of the people watching can actually make it here tonight. So if you've got any questions about what's going on, anything like that, get them posted, and I'm sure Jamie, you better be keeping him on. So I can't concentrate on this chat.
No, he's not.
You've got like one job. Come on. Anyway, if there's anybody who's out there that wants to take a seat, wants to get on like a kind of class, you would all the big favour, because we do what we're doing at all at the moment.
Yeah, because you've been here 2 days now, so you know how to form an orderly queue. And I'm kidding.
You can really tell the popularity of the podcast. Everybody on the main seat. Like if everybody wants to come up, you know, like.
I'm not sure if it's because we're just useless as always, or if everyone else has bottled it. They're just pointing cameras at us. It's a bit weird.
I think it's kind of a little.
I was just when we started this podcast, people would go, nobody. That's called milking the crowd.
Someone brought the board that says applaud, yeah?
Right, so we got be happy with work and honeybees. That's who survived. Now, I don't know how much of a crawl has been going on. It seems to be kind of located here. Chris, what time was you up to last night?
2 a.m. 2 a.m.
I think. Any advances on 2:30? 2:30. Have I got a 3 a.m.?
Anyone knows if it's the bad influence? I think he's already on the Guinness. What number is that? Second barrel. That's down to a T.
Of the second truck.
You got any other questions coming through? Doesn't seem that.
Well, Joseph, has anyone got any questions since you're here? Right.
How about we get some people up here and we get some impressions how the show went and how it went this weekend. Let's Gerald. The Redsman, bring him up here. Let's find out. I want to get Gerald's input on how he felt the show went. What impressions were of it.
You know what? I actually got the Red Smith to right to my leg today. That is the Maker leg. Hello, yeah. Official. Just next to Andy Berkey.
Just next to Berkey.
Yeah. The weekend has been awesome. It was great to meet all the makers right here now, and yeah, it was a blast. If I can use that expression, it was great. I've seen a lot of very talented people, very kind people, a lot of awesome maker doing demonstration, and yeah, that's the perfect weekend. Nothing more to say. So that's awesome.
Did you meet everybody you had a chance to meet? Because I know you were talking about that earlier. You were not going to go to get
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've challenged to fulfill before tomorrow morning. But yeah, I will. Yeah, I can't talk about that. But yeah, no, it was a perfect weekend. I'm so glad I'm here with you guys, and it was great.
You are the man. Red Smith.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks.
Get over here.
We are in trouble now.
Typical. No, the cute man didn't even know.
That was an amazing time. Nick did a fantastic. I mean, just really amazing job. I can't say enough about how smoothly everything went. There was a lot of good vendors show. There was a bunch of YouTubers that everybody knows that were at the show, and apparently the first day alone, 4,000 people came through the doors.
Wow.
So, and over 2,000. That's 6,000.
Yes, the first day it was absolutely. I mean, it was unless you were there, it's difficult to kind of explain, but it was absolutely heaving. I mean, how much of the show did you actually manage to see on day one, sort of roughly?
I actually saw none. I was doing just spending time with people.
But this is going to sound like a really corny question, but obviously there's been a lot of build-up for this. Was there anything in particular that you were sort of wanting to beeline and actually, right, I'm going to definitely go and see something, or did you come with a completely kind of open plan?
It's funny you ask. I absolutely looked at none of the pre-show stuff. I had no idea what was new. There's going to be other YouTubers there that I know, people that I talk to, you guys on a regular basis. I was just excited to spend time with.
From my point of view, it was a bit surreal. And I mean, I'm a nobody on YouTube, really, in the grand scheme of things, when you look at everyone else that's here. You've got a good following, a good hardcore following on several platforms. Do you find it a little bit surreal when effectively complete strangers are coming up and they recognise that? Or do you...
But it's funny, because I was actually having this conversation with Drew. I said, I don't know how to I just, I agree. Yeah, I'd be happy to, sign or whatever. I didn't have a lot of that. And don't get me wrong. I didn't have a lot of that. People that came up and watched my videos, maybe more. But 5 or 6 I can definitely remember at the moment. And it's odd. It's an unusual feeling. I've never had that. So I don't know exactly how to take it. I just try to be gracious and as nice and as interested in what they're doing as possible.
Did you sign Jamie's leg?
Did I sign Jamie's leg? I have not signed Jamie's leg. I got a Sharpie too.
We should definitely get everyone to sign Jamie.
I got a Sharpie too. It's called Mike.
What leg in the sharpening? The middle one, is it?
No. I got Greg Sharpie.
That's something that was really surprising for me. Something that has been really surprising is painting stuff signed. There's been a lot of YouTubers that have been asking about memento sign and stuff like that. Viewers have been visiting stuff signed, which has been crazy. I never expected that. I haven't even signed the back of my card.
That's probably what the reason was.
Finally, Steve has decided to take the seat, Mr. Temple Boy Turning. Tell the audience, what did you think? What did you think made you think? There you have it. There you have it. Honestly.
You did a bit of teaching as well, though, didn't you? I saw.
No, it's not. Some not much left to great crowd. Nice to meet you.
More people grateful that you're leaving them.
Yeah, no, leaving tomorrow.
Ever again, or just?
No, just until the next match.
Cheers.
That's something that we all hold in especially. You're going to actually be make central. When you eventually please do it again. I know it's going to be a headache and it's going to be.
You're having a little bit of issues there.
If you could actually catch that on live, that I'm saying, when you actually listen to this, please put Make a Central on again, and as soon as you can get it announced for everybody, next week, and make it a monthly next as well. But thank you so much. Everybody, really had a blast. Thank you so much for you and your team.
We've kind of talked about what has happened. But what happens next? I mean, personally, my head is absolutely spinning. You get all these people who even just on their own, they come up with great ideas. Yeah. You mix all those together for early time weekends, right? And I think the pot is just going to boil over. My head is literally boiling over. I mean, has anyone picked up any ideas?
Seriously. Ridiculous collaborations just from hearing what's going on from conversation. Watch out for that.
That's because obviously for possibly years and years on a and there's nothing quite like conversation, and there's nothing quite like conversation where you can actually get plans sorted, make plans for future meetups and stuff like that. But then and also it's not just feed shows, but also something like metal. I don't really get something like
So I will tell you one thing that has caught my eye, and that was Richard's scroll story. And I've got video footage.
No, that's faked. You know what he liked with the Photoshop? He's been practicing.
It wasn't. Video never lies.
No, that's rubbish.
Video lied.
Never happened. It never happened.
Many wives, girlfriends, mothers, and all that kind of dragged along to this show with the husband, boyfriend, kind of dragged along. There's so much stuff here that and I craft or anything, and now I want to do it. Can't never come to a show like that's another.
And not only that, I sort of expected that there'd be, I don't want to say hangers on, but the wives and the girlfriends and the kids to be dragged along. They wanted to be there, and they enjoyed being there. I mean, Kat came with me, and I think she did everything. She did marbling on tiles, leather work. She did flower making out of paper and all kinds of just bizarre, crazy, insane things. Yeah. And all the kids doing the same. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, and you saw really excited the fact that they'd gone up and tried scrolling, and they tried leather work, and look. I did it. I didn't realise I could do something like that. They were genuinely super excited with the fact that they tried something for the first time and actually realised they could do something other than their day-to-day normal stuff, which is just brilliant. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, and also you have those, say, two hands-on in inverted commas.
Yeah.
talking to each other because the two makers met and were talking, and they're, we did this, I did this, and they go off and do the same thing as well. And the cross-pollination was happening between the wives and the girlfriends, and the non-makers, as it was, just...
That was the lesson I learned being stuck in a booth all weekend. Yes, I didn't get to mingle and see the guys and stuff like that, or see the booths I wanted to see, but I did hear people come past and see the excitement in people's eyes as they come past and that was, I was seeing something that maybe you guys wouldn't see because you're walking around. So that was cool. That was good.
Of course, you need something to do when you're passing the time. You were standing a lot, weren't you?
I did have a bit of a contract some weekend, unfortunately.
Shame.
Cacao.
I'm actually seeing in the chat that it's basically constant echo, what everybody's saying. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, we can literally only apologise, guys. I can see the comments coming through, but we're really lost for what we could actually do to try and improve it. Because, I mean, we've got people saying it even sounds like Doctor Who and the Soul will enjoy it. But just so honestly, we don't know. We've tried that many different microphones and that many different setups. It's unreal, but hopefully we can see some improvements as we go along. Is it anything?
Well, I think we're going to have to be a little bit kind of blunt and crass about it. There is literally nothing we can do. We're already there. The internet connections are out of our control. Joe's having USB issues. One of us has already dropped out. So hopefully, Joe, you're going to have your work cut out, I think, with any kind of editing that might or might not be possible.
I don't know whether I'll be editing it at all. I've just seen the people saying to pass one mic around. I don't know how successful that will be, passing one mic. Can we try it? In the chat, which mic is better? Is it Richard's or this one? Which one sounds better and like as quick as you can?
Who's got the nicest voice, I think, is the question. Is it Richard?
Well, you know that my voice is just the best, but settings that I mean, voted the worst in the UK, but I think the Americans like it, so that's all that counts.
Is it Team Router or is it Team Joe?
Yorkshire. Oh, you got up Yorkshireman. We got Joe, we got Richard, we got one at the moment.
Why don't we just put my mic between Chris and Jamie, and we'll share your mic.
We'll just have to try and wing it.
We'll wing it. But if you get a moan next time, come along and be here.
All right.
That's actually, I mean, all the echoing. We need to just try and if we can keep it in the middle, maybe that might help.
Yeah, we're good.
We'll wing it.
We've got Pete Bunker, got Andy Pugh, Simon Mullins, Wood Barber, KK mate, Carol, unless he's had one back.
No, Carol's gone back, haven't you, Carol?
Yes,
Obviously, you got a safe journey home with the family, which is awesome. Is there actually anyone in the room that is sort of listening / watching / streaming that can actually hear us?
I think we've got one person. The crowd was kind of looking this way at the beginning, or just amongst ourselves because it's turned into a right show. I've edited myself there, but
I just said shower. Yeah.
Show. But anyway, what do you think of the event? Was Micah Central worth all the effort to get here?
For a fat lad from Sheffield, awesome. Friday night. The good time we had on the Friday night, if we'd have all gone home on Saturday morning. To talk to people from the far-flung corners of the world, do things that I don't do, that I didn't know I was interested in till I spoke to them. It's staggering how good it's been.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. We have really been lacking in the UK. You see it a lot in America. Like the woodworking shop. You then be over here when you see the posts on Facebook and Instagram. But to actually have one in the UK, and for so many people to make it over from Europe, from America, it's fantastic.
When JP did his thing from Atlanta last year, it was just like properly greener than his mic with envy. But because it was being shared, it's just, it might be a big world, but it's a little world, and we're all makers together. It doesn't matter what you make, but just that you're making it. I've spoken to people who are welders and who forge things and who knit things and sew things, and I don't think we've had any chefs, but we've had just about everybody else. And it's the camaraderie and everyone's together. Nobody got an ego. When you can see Jimmy DiResta on Saturday, stood there from 10 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening, talking to everybody he spoke to. He was enthusiastic as the first person he spoke to, and people asking us what we do, and it's all a genuine interest, and everybody likes each other. And it's true that people have said a rising tide raises all ships, and this has lifted everybody up. Just the social aspect of it has been awesome. We could have been put in a big rectangle in NEC with no trade stands and no displays, just to talk to each other, and it would have been mind-blowing. The work that Nick's put into this weekend, it's staggering what he's done for everybody else. He's not done this for himself. He's not done it as an ego trip. He's done it to get everybody together. And if the Queen listens to this, let's give him at least an OBE.
Knighthood.
Yeah, Sir Nick Zametti. Yeah, it's been just stupendous.
In case you didn't know, I'm actually in with the Queen.
The rising tide. Did you speak to the guys and girls on the polymer clay stand?
No, I didn't speak to them. I watched them doing this stuff, and it's fascinating. Did you speak to them, Joe?
Yes.
Did you, Paul?
No.
That's surprising because you're a hooker.
Because I had quite a long conversation, and the stuff they were making was insane. It was absolutely brilliant. But the thing that came out from their conversation was normally they go to like craft fair, hobby craft show, places like that, and people will just walk past, oh that's nice, and walk on. But people like the welders, the woodworkers, the glass people, the resin people who don't know anything and on the face of it are likely to have an interest in their little world, were interested. They were coming along, they were asking all those sort of interesting, in-depth and thoughtful questions which are leading their brain into, I wonder how I could use this for myself.
I think the great thing about seeing some of it was it's stuff that you didn't realise you were interested in, and it's seeing new stuff, and it's been seriously mind-blowing. I make things out of pallets and rubbish and junk, but when you see somebody who's doing something totally different, it's a little light fires, and you think, I want to do that. I've not done that. I want to do that. You might be a woodturner or a metal worker, but we're all people who make things, and it's the thing of you want to make something new that you've not tried before, to challenge yourself and to lift yourself up, to just do something new, for no other reason than just doing it. And this weekend's been awesome. I've chatted to people on the internet before. I've never met anybody in this room before, and it's full of my mates now. And it's just they could have called it Mate Central, really, because it's just people making friends. You know, you chat to people like JP, who's Mr. Social Media, who involves as many people as he can. And other people like who you're friends on Facebook with, but not met in person. It's like if you can put a name to a face and realise how tall they are or how good looking they are.
Why mention height out of everything?
Good looking, Joe.
Yeah, but it doesn't make up for height. That's the trouble. I know I'm a stunner, but I can't really add inches to stunning, can you? And it's always the ones that, like, I've been taking photos with people, obviously, and it's always the ones that I'm like over 6'5", and they come in pairs. So then I'm like standing on my tiptoes, then they stand on the tiptoes just to add to elbows on my head. Everything. I've had a lot, but
I can't believe anyone would do that.
He's a sex symbol as well, so.
But he's like also, what's the church he's part of? Like some kind of cult or something? That's a bit far-fetched for me.
We're a cult of makers, so we're better at things than Scientologists are, because they're all lunatics. But you have to edit that out.
That's the next event name now, isn't it? It's got to be like the cult of makers. I think that could be a new event.
People have been saying, like, when's the next one? 2-3 months. That's not soon enough.
No, every weekend, I think.
It's been stupendous. I mean, we've seen many interesting things, but the social aspect of it. I've seen a man run off to put a sticker up a lift shaft, naming no names, sticker up a lift shaft.
And is that a euphemism or is that literal?
No, it's literally a sticker up a lift shaft.
Right, okay. Just to clear that up for everyone listening, he's obviously talking about Mr. Al's Hack Shack himself, which is in the audience somewhere. You might have heard him laughing. Is he going to make it up at any point, Al? Am you going to make it up here, or am you like going to make it up here? He's doing this on purpose, I swear.
I came here this weekend. I'd not met anybody in real life. We've exchanged messages, exchanged emails. You know, we subscribe to each other. But meeting people, I've been adopted by the Fools with Tools loons, and drinking beer with people and chatting with people and seeing just cool things that people do and that people enjoy. And Al's coming to give me a big kiss in a minute because he's lovely, because we're northern. And
he's looking for another lift shaft, I reckon. That's what he's after. He's got a sticker in hand.
Swap seats with him in a minute because you've had enough of me. Most people won't be able to stand northern.
Well, I think the chat's enjoying it and all the echo as well. So.
Oh my Lord.
So we're having echo issues, and we've now got 3 people sitting on top of each other. That's really going to help.
Going after help.
We're here to help.
They say them helping, but they've like just been basically causing trouble as always.
It's been brilliant. Talking to
think
guys.
don't think Owl looks like a nice gem.
And the names that you forget.
I don't think Owl looks like a nice
You know
gem.
the face, and you can speak to people, and it doesn't matter what you do. Everyone's having fun. And we're trying to persuade Chris to record in the morning, so those of us who have to get up early can watch the live thing next week.
I'm trying to get you off your seat so other people can sit down and talk. Get out of here.
Definitely not sitting on the fence.
Chris,
Tell you how it is.
and here's Al. So, what do you reckon of Mike Central?
Absolutely stunning. I mean, I've not seen Nick since the event finished this afternoon, but I just want to give him a massive congratulations. I think he's pulled off, like, for me, the event of, you know, all UK making events. I've been lucky enough to be a part of Maker Fair a couple of times the past couple of years, but this is kind of blown out of the water. I don't know if you agree, Joe.
I definitely do, and we've just came in, and I think he's just paid off again. So we will try and grab him on at some point if we can. But Nick, all our thanks go out to you, mate. You literally, I can see you back, right? Honestly, we owe everything to you. You and team, because I know you've got a great team behind you that's put this all together. We just can't thank you enough, because it has been all about the people. Obviously, had to do in the arena, get all that sorted out, but to get the people, that's been the biggest job of all.
He was also like on the floor doing like the business as well. He was one part. I heard there was one point he was like doing announcements over the address system, trying to get people to like actually do their work, because he'd obviously in his head, he seems like this laid back guy, but he's actually really planned this all through. I don't know about you guys, but I really wanted to feel, this being an international podcast, what this event has done for kind of the international community and from around the world.
Yeah, that's a really actually unprepared for question that you've just thrown in. So just, what has it done for the international community? It's shrunk it, first of all, I think. It's all well and good being in a hangout and listening to somebody and looking at somebody and talking, but when they're face to face, that makes a big difference. So I think for the moving forward, you know, go through the whole corporate hype speak here, it's going to be good, without a doubt. For the most part, definitely. Yeah, I think there's going to be very little ill effects come out of this.
I mean, you guys are pioneers of kind of bringing the transatlantic community together. I know I've learned today and yesterday that there's actually European makers that are absolutely fantastic in this community as well. And I think bringing them into the fold as well, it's not just this kind of English-American thing, which obviously we're really passionate about because we're really close friends. But it's a much bigger world. And I think, like exactly like you said, Rich, it's shrunk it for me massively. Like people that I've just sort of had at arm's length. The people I've met, I met Christiana from Get Hands Dirty. Gave me a big hug. I was like, this is amazing. This is like...
Chris said you've got to leave.
Okay.
He's had enough of you.
Sorry, Chris. It's time to go. I'm being kicked off another podcast
and never coming back. But seriously, thank you for not being too. I was worried. I'll be honest. But can you go and grab Nick? Because obviously we're stuck here. But if that's all right, cheers, buddy.
Cheers, Al, that's great.
Don't let him escape. Make sure you chain him if you have to.
Here's the reason everybody wants to be called Steve.
Who is
If you
this,
want to play
Steve?
around, Steve, it's your turn, buddy.
Is this Steve?
Hello. I'm Steve.
Doing this podcast with this community is like herding cats. You guys, I mean, whatever.
You should try working with Al. I'm good. How are you guys? Have you enjoyed it?
Well, I was enjoying it up until tonight when we went live, and now it's like I'm regretting everything. Why did I come? Why did I join this podcast? Like,
It's Sunday.
I can relate.
Yeah, it's horrible. But no, to be fair, you've asked a lot of other people questions. I think it's time we ask you some questions. And
no, that's not how it went. No.
you invited me on. So obviously, there's been a hell of a lot of people here. You've met. You would have met some really interesting people. You would have met your heroes, essentially. So what was it like meeting the Force of Tools guys?
When we're talking about heroes,
It's like, is disappointment okay? But it's been brilliant though, because these are the people that, I mean, you always go for channel size, and that is always what people kind of look to. So you got the likes of Jimmy DeResta and Bob Claggett, Laura Kampf, but I've enjoyed the most the people that I've grown on YouTube with. So I've been doing YouTube for about 3-4 years coming up, and there's so many people. One that really stands out to me, Mark Christopher. We've been friends from the get-go, and this has been the first time that I've ever actually met him in person. So that has been a major highlight for me, because I've met so many new friends over the years, really, and it's been less of a wait to actually meet them. So now being able to meet these people that have been years of friendship in the making, that's been the standout for me. I've grown on YouTube with, and it's great to have to shake their hand, thank them for all the support, thank them for all their help over the years, and that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the subscriber thing, for one thing that's kind of hit me fairly hard, having spoken to other makers, other YouTube makers, people from companies, whether they be the demonstrators that have just been roped in because they use whatever it is, say like Steve, or just people who make stuff that nobody knows who they are, to the marketing team for whatever the company is. The biggest thing that struck me is, unlike 2 years ago, subscriber numbers now mean so much less than they did before. You can't be any more blunt about it. Unfortunately, it means far less, because everyone is kind of equal.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's one of the things that I found is, and it's not just in terms of your sponsors and your brands and people like that that don't care about the numbers. It's the actual people, the fans. I mean, we've had people coming up to us that I've been doing a podcast for 6 months. I do not expect anybody to know my name, and the amount of people that have come up and like shaken my hand and wanted to have a picture and things like that, it's absolutely insane. I'm just an idiot in a shed, and and yeah, everyone's done it. And I think what I love though is the fact that I've met, I can't even think how many hundreds of people over the last 2 days, and I haven't met a single person that's been anything other than lovely. Like, I've not met one asshole. Everyone's been brilliant. Everyone's been really supportive, really enthusiastic, and just a genuine person. And to have that many people and that higher quality of people, I think is incredible. And I think it says so much about the community as a whole.
It really does. I think, harking back to that, you get an idea of people from watching YouTube videos, and something that's always been in my mind, I'm really like that in person as they am on camera. And I can definitely say that everybody that I've spoke to this weekend is exactly how they am on camera. It's like, it's uncanny. I think that I put on a little bit of a front, like a kind of something to hide behind when I'm on video. But honestly, speaking to everybody here, it's just like in watching them on a screen, expecting to see just a panel around them, but them here in the flesh.
Yeah, I actually wondered when we were driving up here. One thing that's you can't edit or retake a face-to-face encounter with somebody, or even just see one that's happening. And I wondered actually what might happen because of that. I completely agree. I haven't witnessed or seen anything that you might want to edit out in the shed, which has been absolutely phenomenal. It kind of reinforces that there are some really nice people working hard together with each other.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what you say there is a perfect example. Working hard and the amount of people that made it clear that they want to collaborate with other makers, they want to do things, and they're being inspired by one another, and that's what this is all about. I mean, you guys, but I'm desperate to get back in the shed and get making, and not just because I want to make something myself. It's because I want to make something that I can then collaborate with someone else, and then I can collaborate with someone else, and just grow this community. And I think it's been a massive success. I can't wait until next year, because I think next year is going to be even bigger and even better.
Definitely. That's hopefully if Nick will put it on next year. Obviously, I don't think anything is confirmed yet, but I think off the back of this one, we're keeping our fingers crossed at least. But it is. I mean, I'm definitely can't wait to get back to my workshop and actually try and get something made. Much like watching YouTube, just in real life, because people will be like, you start watching a YouTube video of a morning before you go out into the workshop. That's what I always do, and that gets me in the mood to make something. So seeing it in person, it's just even more of a kick up the backside, get in there, get making some sawdust. And here is my favourite guy from the show, Mark Christopher. What did you think of Maker Central?
This was awesome. This was worth the trip across the pond. It was so different from the shows that we've seen in Atlanta. The amount of children that were there, the amount of kind of everything seems to be rooted in woodworking, but then you've incorporated pyrography, you've incorporated the forge work and the iron work. So there was all these other tangents that are coming together. So it's not strictly a woodworking show. And see the number of children that were there exposed to all of these things, and children with their limitless imaginations. See it in their faces when they were making the tower, the brick challenge out of the paper rolls, to support the weight and stuff. They could do anything, and that was the best part for me, was to see that.
Now, Mark, you and I have been to a lot of shows together.
Yes, we have.
Mark and I travel. We always seem to buck with each other. Mark and I are good friends. But the one thing that I noticed about this show that's different than the shows that we've been to in the past is the demographics that were there. Not only were there more kids at these shows, but there's a lot more women.
A lot more women, and the ages.
Yeah, because the woodworking shows are normally primarily based. It's gentlemen in their 30s and older is the largest bulk amount of that crowd. But in this show, we are seeing teenagers to 20-year-olds to kids, men, women. It was very diverse. I was impressed with that.
I was too. I mean, I'm used to being called Jurassic, but I actually really felt Jurassic at this show.
You be both, brother. You be both.
That's one observation as well. It's the only show you've actually kept clothes on as well.
That's out of respect for the Commonwealth.
Oh, fair dues. Fair dues.
What is that actually in reference to, Jamie? If we don't know the story behind it.
I'm not saying nothing. It's between me and Mark.
We'll have to sit down over a pint for that.
Right, I think that's not for listening ears, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. So you'll have to just believe us that it's a very funny story, but not one for a live broadcast.
But one thing I'd like to ask, coming over from our compatriots in Northern America, not the Americans, the loyal ones for the best part. Have you noticed any kind of cultural differences? Sorry, Chris.
I'm sorry.
I got to throw it in. Yeah. Any cultural, and I guess that's kind of a question for you as well, Chris, because it's all well and good Brits going abroad, but what about you guys coming to the UK? Have you noticed anything culturally that's weirded you out, made you laugh, made you want to go home now, or anything like that?
No, I've always struggled with. This morning I was in the restaurant and I asked the waitress, I said, what the hell is a BAP? was. I didn't know what it was.
But why do you have them out?
Why do you have them out?
I don't think Chris fully understands that one.
I honestly didn't know. Apparently, a bap is a piece of bread, but I didn't know.
Yes, they were going to bread, soft,
something I was going to eat.
soft, round.
Something they call a bap. Just kind of wondered what that was. I didn't say, oh, I'll have that.
Warm or cold?
They're lovely when you spread butter on them and all that much.
And when they're warm, that's definitely
They'll
better.
be warm. But yeah, I mean, like this event, there's so many people out in the chat, and we do apologise. We am still getting a bit of an echo. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot of an echo actually. Got Paul out in the chat. We've got Paul Wilmore's out here actually in the crowd. If he wants to jump up, that would be great. Who else we got out there? We got Dom. But it's really been fantastic. Is there anything that you think the other events could actually take away from my Central, the likes of the woodworking shows and stuff?
They are more centered on the actual woodworking only, and I think if they opened it up more to a maker, was more towards a maker affair with a lot of people that bring a lot of different skill sets to the table. I mean, I know a lot of woodworkers that would love to get into metalworking, and it's almost a logical next step, if you want to make tables and stuff. So yeah, open it up a little bit more to that, I think would be good.
Definitely, and I think that goes back to where you was talking about the difference in the audiences. Because YouTube is so open to everybody, that's going to lead you to actually bring in the different demographics. You're going to have all different age groups, children involved, because a woodworking show, you're going to argue that woodworking power tools aren't something you want children to be playing with. But incorporating from YouTube, you're getting all kinds of crafts, aren't you? So it's like, that's something that's definitely something to take away.
And keeping with the kind of the children theme, hopefully I can track Soph down, because obviously there was a connection with the little ones. But did you see how many kids were there? I hate to say this, Jamie, but I'm going to have to back your team on this one for a second. How many kids there were using the scroll saws, and also the pyrography kits as well, and the lathe. Did you see that? That was amazing.
Yeah, I definitely saw them actually. Like, there was a lot of kids on the scroll saw. Even though it pains me to say it, you could see that there was having a blast using it. And the pyrography, there's actually some paper pyrography going on. So that's something that's like a lot easier to get into. And I'm sure that the actual temperatures are much lower to actually be dealing with paper rather than burning wood. So that's something that would be a lot more safe-ish to give a child to maybe play around with, maybe. And here's the man himself. Here's Nick. We've been waiting all night for him. Nick, on behalf of everybody here, honestly, mate, thank you so much for all the effort that you've put in for Maker Central. It's turned out fantastic. How do you think it's gone?
Yeah, I think it's been overwhelming, really, for a lot of people, and I'm pretty pleased with it. And I think that most of the people that I've spoken to, well, all of the people I've spoken to, and all the exhibitors, the sponsors, and all the people that we've met today have just said it's just been absolutely amazing. So yeah, it's great. I've really, it's knackering, completely tired, but it's just been so worth it. It's been great, isn't it? So many people come together for this. It's just been overwhelming. I can't express it really. It's just, I don't know, I can't find the right words just to say how cool this is.
I think for a few weeks at least to process what actually happened here. It's amazing is the only word I can keep going to. But I think the question on everybody's lips, I know it's early stages, really early, but do you think you will be doing it again?
Yes, I think definitely. I think we will.
That's what we want to hear.
I think definitely. I think from the amount of feedback that we've had from everyone, I think the amount of feedback we've had from everyone is just we want it again. Please do it again. And the only thing I was just reluctant of just maybe having it as a yearly thing. If that's a good thing, then great. I'm happy to do it next year. I was just thinking maybe every 2 years, but if you think every year, then I'm happy to do it every year.
Every year.
If you're up to it, we'd love it.
I'm definitely up for it. I'm always up for the challenge, and I think next year we've got some improvements to make. I know the stage wasn't quite big enough. I know that the speakers weren't quite as powerful enough as they should have been, but we're learning every time we do these types of things, and there were some errors. you know, but we're human at the end of the day, and you know, but I think hopefully most people kind of, you know, would have sort of overlooked those situations, but I do, you know, the TVs probably weren't as big as they should have been and things like that, you know, and I get that, but now we know next time the stage needs to be a bit higher up. It needs to be bigger screens. We need to have more chairs. You know, I had no idea that the turnout was going to be like this. You know, I mean, it was just ginormous. You know, it was the people that came to see these makers was just crazy. You know, so I mean, but it's down to these guys, all of you, turning up. You know, I mean, it's not a show like it is if you guys don't come. You know, and it's about all of you, and all the people that came to see everyone else, and all the exhibitors sticking their neck out, saying, "I'm going to give this a punt," and rolling with it. And they well, hopefully it paid off for them.
Well, I think we would definitely say that it's paid off. And as you say, for the very first experience, I think it's gone amazingly well. Everybody that I've spoken to have been raving about this. You said about you didn't expect so many people. That is the thing that you wanted to happen that you didn't expect. Not many people turning up, that's a bad like something to expect. It was sold out. Everybody was here. Everybody who wanted to be here, who could be here, has made it here. And it's made everybody's weekend. It's made my year. Honestly, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, I'm pleased. And all I wanted really was for everyone to feel this way. You know, I was so desperate and worried that people were going to walk away thinking, you know, it wasn't great. And no doubt we're going to have a few of those. But at the end of the day, I just hope the majority have really, you know, embraced this and they really love it. And, you know, and the community has, you know, seen a difference and a change from what we've done. And that's all I want to do it for, really. It's the community. It's a hobby, you know, for us. And we just want to try to do what we can for this community because it's such a great community. It really is.
I bumped into you very early on yesterday, day one, and you looked like a jelly, nervous wreck.
Yeah.
You kind of now are giving off more of a there's been a weight lifted off my shoulders vibe.
Yeah.
Is that?
Oh, completely, yeah. I mean, it's such a huge thing to take on, and it was a big challenge, you know, and there were a lot of people that really didn't know whether or not it was going to be successful at all. You know, they thought I kind of was jumping in the deep end, and that's kind of what I do. You know, and still, some of those people jumped on board. Some of them backed off and said, "We're not coming. We don't think it's going to be any good." You know, hopefully they think differently now. Everyone's going, "Oh my God, I should have been there," because I think that it was a great turnout. You know, and I think that the people on stage. I mean, I wanted to go and see all these people as well. You know, I was looking for Peter and Doresta, and you know, and I love meeting these people. You know, they're great people to meet. You know, and if you're into making stuff, then you know, this is what it's all about. It's about meeting people like this and, you know, having a chat with them and getting inspired by them and talking to them. And, you know, and bless, you know, people like Jimmy and Alec and stuff stood there all day long. You know, the poor guys probably didn't even get around to look around the show. They just literally stood there from morning to afternoon, shaking people's hands, talking to them about, I don't know, everything and anything about making. And these are the greats, aren't they? They're great people. People come all this way to see these people, and they just stood in the line there, and the queue was huge for these people. It was absolutely huge, yeah.
I mean, you speak about the rest that it was on stage, and then it moved about 10 feet, maybe in 5 hours, shaking people's hands, meeting them, taking photos, everything like that. Everybody has been so invested in this event. It's all been leading up to this one moment, and now that it's over, it's just so surreal. And it is really, we're all gonna end up going on, looking back through all the footage that we've got.
Oh, there's so much footage, and again, yeah, you know, going back to Richard's question, yeah, definitely a weight's been lifted, you know, and I feel so much better now, and we've got, I say, so much material to try to put together some aftermath stuff, and also, you know, something that will encourage more people to come next year. You know, like look at what happened this year. You know, do you want to be involved? But I'll tell you what, every single exhibitor literally wants to sign up now. They're like, can we put our name down for next year? And I'm like, hey, I'll do next year. But they say, right, well, if you do, I want in, and we want to come back, we want to do this, we want to do it bigger, we've got some plans. And this is great news for us, because as long as we've got those guys supporting community for us, for the show and for you guys, then, you know, well, we're halfway there, aren't we? You know, to get them guys on board and looking after everyone, you know, it's just great. It's really, really, really great.
Nick, awesome event. Man.
Thanks.
Awesome event. Give it up.
Thanks.
Nick Zametti, come on, you guys. Give it up. Give it up.
Well deserved rest, mate. Thank you so much.
You are the man. Richard, we're coming down close on time, so I think we got room for one more person that we can talk to, and then we can probably wrap things up and then go have fun. Because it's Jamie's birthday party tonight.
Jamie's birthday, yeah?
We do have Jamie's birthday. I mean, yeah, we're going to get one last person on while he's just sorting himself out. We've all thanked
What
Nick.
did you think of the actual event, Makers Central? Have you really enjoyed it?
Oh, yeah. I made it a point to book my tickets as soon as I could, probably 6-7 months ago. And my wife and my father came out, and we really think that this was the event to go to. We basically made everything that we could do to work to come to this event. We just thought it was an amazing turnout, completely blew our minds. So many people showed up. We've been to a lot of these kinds of events around the United States, but nothing like the turnout that we had this weekend.
That would have actually been a big risk, I think, for people coming from America, because it's quite easy for me to jump on a train for 40 minutes to get to Birmingham. People flying hours, multiple flights, accommodation to get here for a new event that maybe nobody could have turned up to. That's a hell of a risk, and I think that shows the power of the community, the trust in other people to say, I'm going to be here, so-and-so is going to be here, just to all be able to meet in one area.
The faith of the group is what it's about, right? So I think everybody saw a lot of the social media from Atlanta Woodworking, a year and a half ago, and everybody was so charged, so connected, so many more collaborations. I think there was a lot of faith that obviously thousands of people had to come and to make it for this weekend specifically, and they planned for it, right? The first post about uniting creativity, right? The banner was almost a year ago, and people really stuck with that. And I think that faith carried the whole weekend through.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've just had Nick on, we've thanked him, but actually when you think about the grassroots of it, Nick can only do so much, Nick and his team, by putting the show on. But the other half of the story is the people that came. And for some people like yourself, that's a big commitment early on. It's a huge leap of faith. I mean, Joe, similar to me, it's like you could probably cycle here.
I really could.
There's less riding on it, but of course, if nobody turns up, it's never going to be a success. Doesn't matter who's here, what names, what companies, unless there's people walking through the door having fun, it's never going to be successful. So not only to thank Nick, the other half of that is to thank people like yourself, dare I say it, people like Chris, and obviously everyone else in here that's come from a huge, Jamie, you don't get a thanks, a huge distance, because that's the other part, that's the real success of it, and that's the way it's going to grow, I think, in the future.
I think that's true, and I think you can almost measure that by how many posts you saw of people grabbing their stickers and putting the Maker Central thing in the bottom. You can almost measure it 6 months back when people got those stickers in. They all have the Maker Central staff saying, Gus, I'm going, get a sticker from me, right? And you go and you saw those boards, and they saw the layout where there's a dedicated space for YouTubers, whether a YouTuber or just an Instagram or Facebook person. They knew they're going to go there and they're going to meet similar people with similar minds and similar problems and really get a lot of value out of the weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know about yourselves, but I noticed whilst I was there, not only, I mean, I was rubbish at actually physically making any posts, to be perfectly honest, because it was just, I was thinking about what I was looking at, not what I should be posting. But other people obviously were far more successful at it because my feed and the alerts was just going mad. Yeah. Same for you guys?
Yeah, same for me. It was all over the place on my phone, constantly pinging in my pocket, and I was at the event.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the depth of people, right? Because YouTube came prepared for that said, always wanted to do this, always up on a pillar. I knew you were in the United States, you've got all these thousands of views or thousands of subscribers. But now that I get to talk to you in person, and you tell me just post this one person, I hope you're going to go and do it. I hope that's what they get out of it.
Well, man, I'm glad you. Let me just say first, congratulations on getting over. He's pretty much really went. I mean, yeah. Thank you for coming by. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We have one special thing to do tonight, and I'm going to give that to Jamie so he can do his thing.
Jamie is obviously special. We know that. I'm assuming that's not what you're referring to.
No, it's the famous little jingle I got.
Okay, go on.
Jamie's and Robin Jacobson's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Robin.
Happy birthday.
Everybody else knows they can wish you happy birthday as well. So shout out to everybody. Everybody, it's Robin Jacobson's birthday today. So your birthday. There we go.
Speaking of birthdays, I think we've got a bit of a trend going on, isn't it? Somebody else's tomorrow.
No, hell no.
No speech, we're getting close to the hour. Thank you very much. But no, it's Jamie's birthday tomorrow. If you couldn't have guessed from everybody singing, it's going to be tomorrow. So I think we're going to have a few celebrations tonight. Do you think we should try and put this off while we've got control?
Let's
if you're actually in the hotel sets now.
I think we're going to have to call it there, guys. I'm going to actually say it's been really great talking to everybody on here. We do apologise for very, very poor video. Getting ready in here, we'll get it for Jamie's birthday celebration. So we're going to cut it short here. Thanks everybody for tuning in live. If you couldn't have made it out here, I'll wait for the next one. You heard it here first. He said yes. Thank you all for watching. I've been Joe. He's been Jim.
Yeah, I have.
He's been Chris. He's been Jamie. Good night.